All right, the root canal. Everything. Hollywood gives root canal such a bad name, and they are the best procedure ever. Anyway, so here we go. So here is kind of a picture of a tooth. All the three different layers. You have the enamel and the dentin and then the pulp. And here's what a live pulp looks like. And so kind of get this image, and I'll probably be referring back to this during our little spiel here to make sure that you kind of are on the same track. All right, root canals are kind of like the one of the longest procedures that we do in dentistry. They just take a little bit of a while. They're a lot of detail work, and so because of that, patients fall asleep a lot because it's really boring for them. But typically, this is a sequence of how a root canal will go. First thing you'll do is you'll explain to the patient, hey, this is what we're going to be doing today. Make sure that you're all on the same page, and then you're going to be able to, and then you're going to start doing anesthetic. So the first thing you'll do is you'll do topical anesthetic just to make sure they're in good shape. You'll do the needle. Remember what color was long and what color was short. That's right, yellow's long and blue's short. And then you have the yellow that you'll do for the mandibular or the bottom jaw, and then you have the blue for the top jaw. And then you'll want to make sure with just like with extractions, usually you'll just, even though you're doing one tooth, you do multiple carpules because you want to make sure that the patient is really, really good and numb. The next thing that you'll do is you'll do the consent for root canals. Whenever I do a consent form, this goes for extractions, implants, root canals, you always want to explain the risk, but always end it with a positive so they make sure that you're going to be able to take good care of them. Then you have the next step. Once they're numb and once they've consented for you to do the root canal treatment, then you're going to put a rubber dam on their tooth. And this is going to help make sure that everything stays isolated because you're going to be using essentially bleach in their teeth and to kill all the bacteria and all the bad germs that are in there. And you don't want, I don't know the last time you drank bleach, but you don't want anybody to have to do that. So we do a rubber dam to make sure that no one ever tastes that bleach at all. So you put that in there, and then also the infection doesn't taste very good. I've had a few root canals myself, and I know that it doesn't smell very good when they're cleaning out infection in there. So there's a lot of good reasons for putting on a rubber dam. Not only that, but it's illegal to not use a rubber dam. So you want to make sure that you have a rubber dam on there. The first step that you're going to do is you're going to just like a filling, you're going to use the high-speed drill at first, and to kind of go through the pictures, you'll have this, and you're going to make this hole right here in the top of the tooth. And once that hole is made, just a second here. Had some people that were smoking outside. So once you've done this, you made the hole in the top of the tooth. Then this is where things kind of start get boring, and you access the different types of canals that are down inside the tooth. So once you've done that, in the high speed, you'll have a crown prep burr, which is typically what I like to use. Some people will use a 557, but you'll also have a 4-round burr in the slow speed. And during this time, you'll be suctioning just like you would just for a regular filling. And then they'll clean it out and make sure everything's good and clean. And you'll do a lot of rinsing and drying with the air water syringe so that they can see the canals. And one of the biggest things that you'll hand to them during this part is the endodontic explorer. And you'll make sure that they have that, because that's how they're going to be able to locate the canals that are in there. Explorer. Once you have the endodontic explorer, then they'll be able to take a look and make sure that they find the canals, and then they're off to the races. And then that's usually the time when the dentist will tell the patient experience specialist, hey, listen, we've got either a 2-rooted, 3 canal, 4 canal. They'll tell you how many canals usually generally in that too, so that you can kind of be prepared and kind of follow the treatment so you know where the dentist is in the procedure. Once everything's kind of cleared out, the first thing that we try and do is irrigate it with a syringe and with a 20 mil syringe, and you'll have the surgical suction at this point. So once they're done with the high speed drill and they're kind of going to smaller instruments, that's when you'll put away the HVAC and you'll go to a surgical suction. Once you have that, then you'll hand the dentist the bleach, and he'll put the bleach inside the tooth, and then you'll be sucking it out as he's putting it in. So that way you're constantly circulating the bleach through there, and you'll be killing all the bacteria. Then you'll go to the wave 1 file. Dentists might use a Gates Glidden, might use a lot of different things to open up the canals just a little bit more, and this is really dentist specific. This isn't something that every dentist does the same, that's for sure, but they generally follow the 3 rules. You'll have the access opening, and then you're going to be able to clean out the files. So what you'll do is you'll see this really long file that will go all the way down to the end of the tooth. And this is used in like a small little drill. And they'll go down and they'll go slowly but surely all the way down. And they'll start here and it'll start getting tighter. They'll go down a little bit and then you'll come out and then you'll irrigate some more. You'll come down and you'll do some more cleaning out of the tooth and then you'll irrigate some more. And essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to get this file all the way down to the very end of the root, and then you're trying to get the bleach all the way down to the very end of the root, so that way that it can clean it out and make sure everything's good to go. One of the instruments that you'll use once you start getting everything bleached out and starting to get clean, you'll do about 80% of the work. So the dentist will go down, to about right here,
Sizes that
not
gently
going down all the way until, and then he'll clean it out. And then at this point, you'll dry the canal just a little bit, and you'll use small little paper points to dry the canal. Then you'll hook up the apex locator. Apex locator will be used to find the length of the canal. Once he finds the length, he or she, the dentist, will tell the patient experience specialist, hey, listen, this is how long this canal is, or this canal, or this canal. And this will be able to help you figure out, and you'll write down, usually, or take mental note of the length of the canals so that you and the dentist can help remember how long these canals are. I have down here that you'll write it down, and then that way you don't forget it. And I think that's a great idea, because then sometimes you'll get to the end of the procedure, which are an hour, hour and a half long, and an hour later you're like, oh, what was that canal length? And especially if they get complicated in 3 or 4 canals, that's where it gets kind of tricky. So you'll do the apex locator, you'll find the exact length. Oftentimes, if the apex locator doesn't come out perfect, then you'll snap an x-ray in there. And this will be a type of x-ray that you'll have the sensor for, just to make sure that it can slide behind the rubber dam, not one that you would typically use to be able to take an x-ray. Then at this point, once you know exactly how long the canal is, then you'll use the wave 1 file to go all the way down to the end. And usually the dentist will say, all right, I've gotten to the end of the mesial buccal, I've gotten to the end of the distal buccal, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we're getting close, and he'll kind of keep you updated on how much is cleaned out, because you can't really see down in there. Once he kind of gives you that indicator, once everything is cleaned out, you'll do a final rinse of bleach. Make sure that everything's cleaned out. Then you'll even use a more expensive and toxic substance that'll stay in the tooth to help make sure that bacteria don't come back. And that's what we use is Q-Mix, it's an EDTA solution. This one we don't use a lot of. You'll fill up only about 2.5 milliliters. You only need about 1/10 of a milliliter per canal, but we do a little bit of extra just to make sure that everything's rinsed out really well. You'll do the final rinse of the Q-Mix. You'll make sure that everything is dried out with the paper point, so that inside of the tooth there's no bleach or anything. So you use these little miniature paper points that go all the way down, and everything's isolated and dry. Once that's done, then you will mix up some sealer, most likely once he's using he or she's using the endo activator, and make sure that everything is cleaned out, irrigated out completely. Then you'll do your final irrigation with Q-Mix, dry it, and then place sealer, and then the gutta percha all the way down to the bottom of the tooth. And that's what it'll look like. As we come down here to the end, well, let's go here. This is kind of what the gutta percha looks like. You'll use these files that go all the way down there, and it's an orange filling material that you'll use, and you'll be using it to warm up in the oven. So you use the same size of gutta percha as you do the wave 1 file, and then that will be all cleared out. Once that's done, you'll put a filling in the top of it, and then you'll be off to the races. So then you'll follow the sequence of what it's like for a composite filling or an amalgam filling, whatever the dentist feels is the best sequence for that. And then you'll make sure that you schedule them for their their next appointment, whether it be for the crown. And a lot of times root canals are done in conjunction with the crown, so you'll be able to do the root canal, get them out of pain, and then do a crown. So once again, it turns it into a really long procedure. And then you'll just make sure that they're scheduled for their next cleaning or their next appointment, whether they have a filling or anything else that needs to be done.